Hi, everyone. Welcome back to God's Whispers, a place where we take the time to pause and reflect on the word of the Lord. The disciples saw him. They really saw him, but they thought he was a ghost. They were all gathered together. They closed the doors. They were scared. This obviously was historically important because the crucifixion didn't just kill a person. It sent a message. You're next if you follow him. So they're hiding. They're not celebrating. They weren't expecting a resurrection. And then suddenly, Jesus is standing there. There was no warning, no buildup, just peace be with you. Let's listen. The Gospel according to Luke, chapter 24, verses 35 through 48. The disciples of Jesus recounted what had taken place along the way, and how they had come to recognize him in the breaking of bread. While they were still speaking about this, he stood in their midst and said to them, "Peace be with you." But they were startled and terrified and thought that they were seeing a ghost. Then he said to them, "Why are you troubled? And why do questions arise in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Touch me and see, because a ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see I have." As he said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. While they were still incredulous for joy and were amazed, he asked them, "Have you anything here to eat?" They gave him a piece of baked fish. He took it and ate it in front of them. He said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses and in the prophets and Psalms must be fulfilled." Then he opened their minds to understand the scriptures. And he said to them, "Thus it is written that the Christ would suffer and rise from the dead on the third day, and that repentance for the forgiveness of sins would be preached in his name to all nations, beginning from Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things." Obviously, they were terrified. Seeing someone that you thought was dead, that would only mean one thing to me, too: a spirit, a ghost. But what does Jesus do? He doesn't speak at the beginning part. He just invites them closer and says, "Look at my hands, look at my feet." This obviously matters because the wounds from the crucifixion were obvious. And then he asks for food. He eats in front of them. Why? Because spirits don't eat. So this wasn't symbolic. This was just something to show again that he was real. So the fear starts to turn into wonder. And when he says, "It's me, it's I'm here. It's not an idea. It's not a feeling. It's him, and he's alive." So that's where it kind of focuses for us for today. Faith isn't pretending that something is true. It's trusting that it is true, even when it's hard to process. The disciples didn't go from doubt to certainty instantaneously. They had to kind of live through the fear and then start to believe. So maybe that's where you are right now. You're not fully convinced. You're not fully at peace, but there's still room. There's still room for Jesus to meet you there. So journal prompts that would go along with this passage would be, where do you struggle to believe something even when you want to? And what fears keep you behind closed doors? And then how do you respond when God moves in unexpected ways? And then finally, what would it look like to move from fear to trust? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Share it with a friend. Have a discussion about it. And don't forget to subscribe so you can continue to hear God's whispers.